world, nightfall is still considered a time of caution. Even today, Romanian tradition is full of stories about devils and vampires, stories that are not taken lightly.
It's very serious business. There's a deep worry about the walking dead, the undead.
Raymond McNally is a professor of history at Boston College. It was McNally who discovered the ruined castle of Dracula in present-day Romania. The real Dracula was a prince named Vlad Dracula, which means son of the devil. And in the 15th century, Vlad certainly lived up to his name.
He killed about 100,000 people. Now, his country at that point was only 500,000 people. That's 1/5 of the population. That's a mass killer on a level with Hitler, Stalin, or any of those characters.
A vicious psychopath, Prince Vlad had unlimited power over the territory he ruled. He killed for any reason whatsoever. His favorite method of murder was impaling people alive. Often he ate while watching his victims slowly die.
He would have bowls in front of him at the dining table and have them filled with the victim's blood. And then he'd take bread and he'd dip it in the blood and he'd slurp it down. So there was a living vampire connection. That is, it's a blood drinker.
Death came to Vlad Dracula at age 45. He was decapitated in battle. His head sent to a Turkish sultan. His body buried here at a monastery outside of Bucharest. In 1931, Dracula's tomb was opened. And you guessed it, the grave was empty, leading some to believe that Vlad Dracula had become one of the living dead, Dracula. The writer, Bram Stoker, took the legend of Vlad and molded it into the novel Dracula. And the visitor to Transylvania can see signs of the vampire legend everywhere. Crosses are built into homes, crosses that repel the vampire.
Sacrilege!
In modern-day Transylvania, belief in vampires remains strong.
Vampires can hurt people in many ways. They can spoil marriages. The vampire can cause great disputes between couples. When a young bride is about to get married, there is always a piece of garlic so that the evil spirits do not cast the evil eye upon her.
Largely unspoken among the Romanian peasants is the physical threat of the vampire. But there are incidents.
I was passing through the town of Rodna, which is in Transylvania, right near the birthplace of Dracula, actually, and I noticed that there was a funeral ceremony going on. I waited around. After the official ceremony, they came out and dug up the coffin, and they plunged a wooden stake through the heart.
Good evening. Welcome to Carfax Abbey, Sue.
The Hollywood Dracula has evolved into a much smoother monster than the role model Vlad Dracula. But blood is still the central issue.
I need your blood. I need.
Beginning with the very spooky Bela Lugosi, vampire movies have flown out of Hollywood faster than a hungry bat at dusk. Now comes the most expensive Drac of all, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula: The Untold Story, which cost $40 million to make.
Make no mistake, he must be stopped.
In order for this very expensive film to succeed, millions will have to go to see it. And the question really is, why are we so fascinated with vampires?
We're intrigued with vampirism because he is seductive, he is attractive. I think the movies have done a lot to glamorize him. And I think there is this feeling that we like to partake in the life eternal.
The vampire, of course, can live forever, especially if he or she makes money. And right now in Transylvania and in Hollywood, Dracula is very much alive.
In the past 500 years, Professor, those who have crossed my path have all died.
People here in Romania don't know very much about Dracula the vampire. That's because the movies and the novel have been banned. In fact, many here think Vlad Dracula was a hero.